I was riding my bike when I got onto a busy street when I was 9 years old. The power that was used to push my bike across the street was unlike anything I had ever experienced before, and I could feel the wind from the automobile that narrowly avoided striking me. In 1989, when I was 19 years old, a buddy of mine and I were driving on the FDR in New York City. Suddenly, I was hit by a sharp ache in my head, and then I saw that my entire body, from my head to my arms, was tingling. After that, I noticed that I was having trouble seeing well. After I informed my friend, he took control of the vehicle and instructed me when to step on the accelerator and the brake. He guided us to the shoulder of the road, where a police officer was waiting for us there. My friend got out of the car and then came back to tell that my blood sugar may have been low and that he was going to take the next exit to grab me a chocolate bar. I don't recall either of us moving seats at any point. I was suddenly unable to see anything at all, and I had no idea what was going on. I was somewhat aware at times and then not at all. Next, I recall hearing him using a payphone to call an ambulance, which caused me to freak out, and I frantically searched about for the door handle before finally opening it. I got down on all fours and screamed his name as I was on the ground. Despite the fact that I couldn't see anyone, I could hear people approaching me and asking whether I was okay. The next thing I remember is someone lifting my eyelids and shining a light right into one of my eyes. After that, I don't remember anything else. I recall opening my eyes for a little while as I was riding in the ambulance. And the next thing I knew, I was at the hospital. Although I was lying on a gurney, I couldn't place exactly where I was. After that, I found myself floating above my body and puzzled. But I managed to break through a wall and fly along a lengthy corridor while staying as near to the ceiling as possible. The lights that I traveled beneath are ingrained in my memory to this day. After that, I found myself in the morgue, directly above two physicians who were both bald, but one more so than the other, and spoke with a Nordic accent. They were talking about the body that was lying on a metal table in front of one of the compartments, and it was getting ready to be moved into its location at the time. Both of them were claiming that they were unaware of what had taken place. Someone mentioned something about her brain. After that, I descended to the body in order to learn more about the person who had died there. It seemed like some of my hair was poking out from below the sheet that was covering this person. I was about to lift the sheet to check below it when I was abruptly stopped by a luminous umbilical cord that was tied to me. In an instant, I was carried through the wall, through the lengthy corridor, and up by the lights, just as I had been before I entered the morgue. Then I was pushed into my body, and the next thing I remember, my eyes were wide open. The vibration was unlike anything I had ever experienced or ever will feel again. My vision came back, and I was finally able to stand up and walk to the restroom, where I promptly became ill from the chocolate bar. I was in the hospital for a long time getting examined and tested. Because there was no MRI available at the time, I was only given a CT scan and a spinal tap instead. That there was no bleeding in my brain was demonstrated by all of these things. They diagnosed me with anxiety and gave me a lot of medicine to take at home, but I never ended up taking any of it. It goes without saying that this had a significant impact on my life, yet for many years I refused to discuss it. I conducted diligent and covert investigation through several literature in an effort to make sense of what had occurred earlier that evening. Since then, I've had a lot of epiphanies, and I've also suffered for a good many years. This encounter jogged my memory of shattered details from my childhood, during which I was subjected to abuse. Before all of this took place, I had some spiritual and psychic experiences, but I never really gave them much thought. Since this event took place in 1989, I've experienced a great deal more spiritual encounters and occurrences of the psychic kind.